The secret I'm talking about isn't hidden in fancy pickup lines or cheesy tricks. It's simple, but it works because it taps into a deep, almost primal psychology that governs attraction. Once you know this principle, you'll stop chasing. You'll stop over-explaining yourself. You'll stop doing everything that kills desire before it even has a chance to grow. Instead, you'll understand exactly how to position yourself so women are naturally drawn to you without even realizing why. Picture this. A woman who was once indifferent suddenly starts seeking your attention. She laughs at your jokes more. She leans in when you talk. She wants to spend time with you. This doesn't happen because you begged, chased, or changed who you are. It happens because you've mastered a subtle dynamic that makes her feel intrigued, excited, and curious. And once you've grasped this, her previous resistance doesn't stand a chance. In this video, I'm going to break it all down for you step by step. From the mindset shifts that transform your presence, to the small actions that create tension and curiosity, to the way you handle yourself so that attraction becomes almost automatic. By the end of this, you'll understand why women respond to certain men instinctively, and why once a man truly internalizes this principle, women can't help but notice and want him. It's time to stop guessing, stop struggling, and start seeing how powerful you can be when you know exactly how to operate in the world of attraction. Let's dive in. 1. Master the mindset. Everything begins in your mind. If you want women to respond to you automatically, you first need to shift how you think about yourself and about attraction itself. Most men approach women with a scarcity mindset. I need her to like me, or if I don't act now, I'll lose my chance. That mindset is visible in your energy, your words, and your behavior, and it destroys attraction before it even has a chance to form. The men who finish women, the ones who command attention effortlessly, operate from the opposite mindset. They aren't desperate for approval, and they don't need validation from anyone else. Their focus is on their own growth, their own life, and their own experiences. And the subtle confidence that comes from that focus, women feel it immediately. So, how do you develop this mindset? It starts with self-value. Recognize that your time, energy, and attention are your most valuable assets. You don't give them freely to everyone, and you certainly don't give them to someone who doesn't meet your standards. That doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you a man who respects himself, and respect is magnetic. Next, understand that attraction is not about convincing someone to like you. It's about presenting yourself in a way that naturally pulls them in. Once you stop trying to win someone over, the dynamic flips. You're no longer chasing, you're choosing. And women subconsciously notice that shift immediately. Another aspect of this mindset is emotional control. Women are highly sensitive to energy. If you're reactive, anxious, or overly eager, she senses it. But if you stay calm, grounded, and self-assured even when she tests you, she starts to perceive you as stable, reliable, and confident. Those are traits that trigger desire without you saying a single word. Finally, focus on abundance. Abundance doesn't mean dating multiple women simultaneously. It means living a life full of experiences, friendships, and purpose. When your life is full, you're no longer dependent on her attention for happiness. And that independence, it's irresistible. Here's the kicker. Mindset isn't something you fake, it's something you build. When your identity is rooted in self-respect, emotional control, and purpose, women can't help but respond. They pick up on subtle cues in your tone, posture, and confidence. And once that attraction starts, it becomes self-reinforcing. This is why mindset is the foundation. Without it, all the tactics, lines, or tricks in the world won't work. Women aren't just responding to what you do, they're responding to who you are. And when you master this mindset, you automatically put yourself in a position where attraction is inevitable. From this point forward, everything else you do, your energy, your presence, your interactions, amplifies that foundation. Women notice, they invest, and once they do, the dynamics change. Because the man who has mastered his mindset isn't just a man they like, he's a man they want. Once you internalize this, you'll begin to see why men who understand this principle never struggle with women. They don't chase, they don't beg, and they don't over-explain. They simply operate from a place of power, self-respect, and magnetic energy. And women respond naturally. This is the first step in the process. Once you've got your mindset dialed in, the next moves you make will build on it, and every woman you interact with will feel it, whether she realizes it or not. 2. Command presence. Once your mindset is solid, the next step is presence. Presence is the invisible signal you give off that communicates confidence, value, and control, all without saying a word. It's what makes a woman feel your energy the moment you enter a room, and it's one of the fastest ways to establish dominance and attraction. Most men underestimate presence. They think it's about looks, fancy clothes, or charm. But real presence comes from how you carry yourself, your posture, your energy, your focus. A man with presence moves as if the world respects him because he respects himself. He doesn't need to announce it. It's evident in the way he walks, speaks, and engages with his surroundings. Start with posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest open. When you speak, your voice is clear, calm, and deliberate. Avoid fidgeting or looking down. It signals insecurity. Eye contact is crucial. Hold it just long enough to communicate interest without seeming aggressive. Subtle, confident eye contact signals that you're fully engaged and comfortable in your own skin. Presence also comes from your energy. Women are wired to feel subtle cues. Nervous energy, overexcitement, or uncertainty repels attraction. Calm, grounded energy draws it in. When you enter a space, your energy sets the tone. If you're confident and composed, people, and women in particular, naturally orient toward you. Another aspect of presence is how you interact socially. Notice how you handle conversations, interruptions, or even small disagreements. Do you panic, over-explain, or seek approval? Or do you maintain control, speak clearly, and assert your position without aggression? Women are subconsciously attracted to men who can navigate social environments with ease because it signals competence and stability. Presence also means being fully in the moment. When you're with a woman, give her your attention, but not in a needy way. Listen, respond thoughtfully, and show curiosity about her world, but never at the expense of your own focus. A man who is fully present in his own life and in interactions projects value without effort. And here's a crucial piece most men miss. Presence is magnetic because it's tied to independence. A man who is fully occupied with his goals, his passions, and his circle isn't dependent on a woman for validation. That independence makes him rare, and rarity creates desire. Finally, presence amplifies every other element of attraction. When your mindset is strong, your energy controlled, and your presence commanding, even women who initially weren't interested start to notice. They feel drawn, intrigued, and subtly challenged, all without you saying a word. Presence isn't something you can fake for long. It's cultivated through self-awareness, confidence, and the discipline to maintain control over your own energy. But once you have it, women respond instinctively. They notice it in the way you carry yourself, the subtle dominance in your energy, and the effortless control over social dynamics. In short, presence is what separates the men who struggle with attraction from the men women can't ignore. Once mastered, it turns interactions from ordinary to magnetic, and it lays the foundation for every other tactic you'll use to create desire. Presence is the silent signal that says, "I am a man of value," and women feel it immediately. 3. Ignite curiosity. Attraction isn't just about being confident or commanding presence, it's also about being intriguing. Women are drawn to men they don't fully understand, men who spark questions in their minds, men who leave a subtle sense of mystery. Once a man masters curiosity, he stops being predictable. And suddenly, even women who were indifferent start paying attention. Most men destroy curiosity without realizing it. They overshare early. They tell their life story in the first conversation. They explain every thought, every intention, and every feeling, thinking transparency equals attraction. But the opposite happens. Once she feels like she knows you completely, there's nothing left for her to wonder about. No tension, no pull, no reason to invest emotionally. So, how do you ignite curiosity effectively? It starts with selective disclosure. You reveal details about yourself, but in pieces, not the full picture. Let her see glimpses of your world, your passions, your experiences without over-explaining. Mention something interesting, then pivot. Leave space for her to ask questions, to dig deeper. That small act of withholding creates intrigue. Another tactic is to be slightly unpredictable in conversation, but always natural. If she asks what you did over the weekend, don't give a predictable rundown. Instead, answer in a way that piques interest. I had an interesting day that I'll tell you about later. That creates a mental hook. She'll remember you, and she'll wonder what made your day interesting. Curiosity also comes from contrast. If your behavior is entirely predictable, always calm, always eager, always agreeable, you're boring. But when your behavior has subtle variations, playful teasing, confident silence, slight unpredictability, it engages her emotions. Women subconsciously respond to this tension because it stimulates their curiosity and keeps them invested in understanding you. Texting is another area to leverage curiosity. Don't over-text or explain everything via messages. Short, intriguing messages that leave her wanting more work far better than long, detailed texts. End conversations on a high note, leaving her thinking about you even when you're not present. Anticipation fuels desire. Physical presence can also ignite curiosity. Subtle touches at the right moment, confident body language, and controlled energy create a magnetic pull she can feel but can't fully articulate. That mix of interest and restraint keeps her on her toes. Finally, curiosity thrives on confidence. A man who is comfortable holding back, who doesn't feel the need to explain or overexpress, signals that he's high value. Women pick up on this automatically. They sense the independence, the mystery, the challenge, and it draws them in naturally. When you combine selective disclosure, subtle unpredictability, tension, and confidence, you become someone who isn't easily figured out. And that's exactly the type of man women notice. Curiosity is a psychological trigger. Once it's activated, even women who initially seemed uninterested begin thinking about you, replaying interactions, and imagining possibilities. Attraction isn't forced, it's generated from the pull of mystery, the desire to understand someone intriguing. Mastering curiosity is essential. It's the bridge between confidence and desire. Without it, presence alone might attract attention, but it won't hold it. With it, even the most indifferent women start to lean in. 4. Build tension. Curiosity alone sparks interest, but desire grows from tension. Women are naturally drawn to men who create a subtle push and pull, a dynamic that makes them feel alive without overwhelming them. Most men miss this entirely because they try to be liked at all times. They avoid conflict, overagree, or chase. That kills attraction. Tension, when applied correctly, keeps a woman emotionally engaged, invested, and intrigued. So, what does tension look like in practice? It starts with communication. Instead of always agreeing or validating everything she says, challenge her playfully, not aggressively, not to dominate, but to create an emotional spark. If she teases or tests you, respond in a way that maintains your calm, but adds a subtle counterbalance. A light challenge, a teasing comment, or a confident observation can make her think, he's different. I like that. Eye contact is another powerful tool. Most men break eye contact too quickly, especially when they feel nervous. Holding it just slightly longer than normal sends a signal of confidence and subtle dominance. It creates intensity without words. Combined with a calm, controlled presence, this builds tension that she can feel physically and emotionally. Unpredictability is key. If your reactions are always the same, always playful, always serious, or always agreeable, she quickly labels you as predictable. Introduce subtle variations in your energy, tone, or behavior. Sometimes playful, sometimes quietly confident, sometimes a little distant. These shifts create a dynamic interaction that keeps her emotionally engaged. The unknown is alluring, predictability is boring. Physical presence also contributes to tension. Light touches, close proximity at the right moment, and then pulling back slightly creates a push and pull dynamic that sparks attraction. Too much, too soon feels forced. Too little feels distant. That balance is where desire grows. Another aspect of tension is emotional restraint. Don't overreact to her comments or actions. A man who maintains control over his emotions, even when she teases, tests, or flirts casually, signals strength. Emotional stability is magnetic. It creates a safe yet exciting environment for her to invest emotionally. Tension isn't about being manipulative or mean, it's about creating an experience that stimulates her feelings and keeps her engaged. It's the subtle spark that makes interactions feel different from anything else she's experienced. When done right, she can't ignore it, and she begins to seek more of it. Finally, tension amplifies curiosity. A woman who is curious about you and experiencing emotional tension is deeply drawn. She starts thinking about your interactions, replaying them, and imagining possibilities. That emotional engagement is where desire takes root. Once you master tension, interactions shift from casual to magnetic. Women no longer see you as just another guy. They see you as someone intriguing, confident, and emotionally stimulating. That's the difference between being noticed and being irresistible. Tension isn't optional, it's essential. When combined with mindset, presence, and curiosity, it transforms indifference into attraction, making women instinctively drawn to you without you needing to chase or convince them. 5. Live fully. By now, you understand mindset, presence, curiosity, and tension, but none of that reaches its full potential if your life lacks depth. A man who is fully alive, who pursues his goals, passions, and experiences, is naturally magnetic. Women are drawn to men who have a world outside of them because it signals independence, purpose, and value. Many men make the critical mistake of centering their life around women they want to impress. They rearrange schedules, cancel plans, and overinvest attention in hopes of winning interest. That behavior communicates neediness and scarcity, two things that kill attraction faster than anything else. Women can sense it subconsciously. A man who lives fully sends the opposite signal. He's not waiting for validation, and he's not dependent on her attention. Living fully doesn't mean being busy for the sake of being busy. It means cultivating hobbies, relationships, and goals that give your life meaning. It could be pursuing a career or side hustle you're passionate about, maintaining strong friendships, developing your physical fitness, traveling, or mastering new skills. Whatever it is, your focus and ambition create a presence that women instinctively notice. Here's how to show it without bragging. Share glimpses of your life naturally. Mention your weekend adventures, your progress on personal goals, or your exciting plans, but do so casually. You're not announcing your value, you're living it. That balance between living your life fully and inviting her into it subtly builds intrigue and attraction. Another key element is availability. A man who is always free sends the opposite message of independence. By prioritizing your schedule and maintaining boundaries, you communicate that your time is valuable. Women respond to that because it establishes respect and gives them space to choose to invest in you rather than take your attention for granted. Living fully also ties into confidence. When your life is rich with purpose and experience, your confidence isn't forced, it's natural. You don't need to prove anything, and that authenticity makes every interaction more powerful. Women respond to men who are already moving forward in their own lives because they want to join a man in motion rather than pull one who is stationary. Finally, living fully amplifies every other tactic. Presence becomes more magnetic because it's grounded in real achievement. Curiosity deepens because you genuinely have a life she doesn't fully know. Tension becomes exciting because she senses there's more to discover. Mindset, energy, and independence all become visible in a way that can't be faked. The truth is simple. A man who lives fully isn't chasing women, they're drawn to him naturally. He creates attraction effortlessly because his life itself signals value. Women instinctively respond to men who embody purpose, independence, and authenticity. When you integrate this into your daily life, it changes everything. Attraction becomes organic. Interactions are richer, deeper, and more magnetic. And women who were indifferent or hesitant before start to notice, lean in, and invest because a man who lives fully isn't just interesting, he's irresistible. Mastering this principle makes you a man women can't ignore. Your presence, energy, and lifestyle communicate value before you even speak. And that's the key to ensuring that, once a man knows this, all women are finished. Not in a manipulative sense, but because attraction becomes inevitable. 6. Flip the power. By this point, you've mastered mindset, presence, curiosity, tension, and living fully. But there's one final principle that separates average men from men women can't resist: flipping the power dynamic. Most men operate from a position of need, chasing approval, attention, or affection. That imbalance kills attraction before it can even form. Women sense it immediately, and it creates disinterest. Flipping the power isn't about being controlling or manipulative. It's about operating from choice. You are the one deciding where your attention goes, who you spend time with, and how you engage. When she senses that you are not desperate for her validation, the dynamic changes instantly. Instead of being the pursuer, you become the standard. She now has to meet your energy, respect your presence, and earn your attention. Start with interactions. Instead of constantly initiating contact, let her invest. Respond thoughtfully, not immediately, and keep your messages concise and engaging. If she tests you with teasing games or hesitation, maintain calm and composure. Your reactions should communicate stability, confidence, and independence, not neediness. Women are drawn to men who remain steady under subtle emotional challenges. Another key aspect is selective engagement. Not every interaction requires your full attention or energy. Be discerning with what you invest in. If she's inconsistent, flaky, or disrespectful, do not bend to accommodate her. By maintaining standards and boundaries, you communicate self-respect and elevate your perceived value. That subtle shift creates attraction without effort. It signals that your time is scarce and valuable. Flipping the power also involves emotional investment. Instead of over-investing in her early attention or affection, make her earn it. Let her show consistency, genuine interest, and effort. When she experiences that her attention and energy must meet yours, she becomes more engaged and emotionally connected. Women respond positively to men who operate from strength and clarity, not desperation or approval seeking. In addition, let your body language reflect authority. Stand tall, maintain controlled gestures, and use eye contact strategically. Subtle dominance and nonverbal cues communicates that you are grounded, confident, and in control. These microsignals amplify attraction far more effectively than words ever could. Finally, flipping the power is about detachment without withdrawal. You remain emotionally and mentally independent while still engaging meaningfully. This creates an irresistible balance. She wants your attention, but you are not dependent on her response. That tension, the push and pull, fuels desire and deepens attraction. When a man flips the power, women instinctively notice. The dynamic is no longer about chasing or testing. It's about choice, standards, and respect. Suddenly, interactions feel charged. She invests emotionally because she senses your independence and strength. This principle completes the framework. When combined with the mindset, presence, curiosity, tension, and a full life, flipping the power ensures that attraction is inevitable. Women who may have been indifferent or resistant now respond naturally. They feel the pull because the dynamic has shifted. Once you internalize this principle, you're no longer just a man trying to impress. You're a man women instinctively want. Your energy, choices, and boundaries create a magnetic presence that is impossible to ignore. This is the essence of why, once men know this, all women are finished. Attraction becomes automatic, natural, and unstoppable. 7. Walk away strategically. This is the final and often most misunderstood principle. Snorts. Walking away isn't about manipulation, games, or trying to make her miss you. It's about setting boundaries, valuing your own presence, and reinforcing the dynamics you've already established. The man who can walk away strategically commands respect, amplifies attraction, and makes women lean in, even those who were initially indifferent. Most men fail here. They cling, overtext, and chase after women who aren't invested. That desperation destroys any remaining intrigue or tension. Women sense it immediately. It communicates neediness, scarcity, and lack of self-respect, all instant attraction killers. The strategic walk away, on the other hand, signals independence, self-worth, and high value. It communicates that your attention is earned, not given freely, and that your life doesn't revolve around anyone else. So, how do you walk away strategically? Start by observing her behavior. If she's inconsistent, dismissive, or tests your patience, don't react emotionally. Simply step back without drama. Reduce your contact naturally, focus on your own priorities, and maintain your energy. This isn't punishment, it's demonstration. You are showing, through action, that your time and attention are precious, and that you won't compromise your standards for someone who doesn't match your energy. It's crucial to maintain composure while doing this. Walking away isn't about anger, bitterness, or making a point. It's calm, confident, and intentional. You don't announce your withdrawal or seek validation through her reaction. Instead, you continue living fully, pursuing your goals, maintaining your presence, and engaging with your world. The subtlety of this move is what makes it irresistible. Women feel the absence without confrontation, and that creates space for desire to grow. Timing is everything. The walk away must feel natural. Don't disappear too early when curiosity hasn't been sufficiently built, or too late when tension and attraction have already peaked. The perfect moment is when you've demonstrated value, maintained your presence, created curiosity, and flipped the power dynamic. But she's still hesitant or inconsistent. That's when absence becomes magnetic. Walking away also reinforces your standards. Women are attracted to men who won't settle for less than they deserve. When you step back strategically, you communicate that your boundaries are non-negotiable. This makes her reconsider her own actions and feelings. Suddenly, she's not just deciding whether she likes you, she's considering whether she's willing to meet your level of energy, respect, and commitment. Finally, the strategic walk away creates a reset. It gives her time to reflect on the interactions, the tension, the curiosity, and the magnetic presence you've built. It gives her the space to reevaluate her own interest. And when, or if, she returns, the dynamic has shifted. She's now investing in you, not the other way around. When executed correctly, this principle completes the framework. It ensures that the attraction you've built doesn't fade under pressure, and it solidifies your position as a high-value man. Walking away strategically isn't rejection, it's empowerment. And when a man masters this, even the women who once seemed uninterested become engaged, attentive, and drawn to him naturally. This is the ultimate step in why, once a man knows this system, all women are finished. It's not about control, it's about presence, standards, and creating desire that can't be ignored. At this point, you understand the full framework: mindset, presence, curiosity, tension, living fully, flipping the power, and walking away strategically. Mastering these principles transforms the way women respond to you, not through force, manipulation, or games, but through natural attraction and magnetic energy. When you embody self-respect, independence, and emotional control, women are drawn to you effortlessly. The chase ends and desire begins. Once a man internalizes this system, even women who seemed uninterested can't help but notice, lean in, and invest. This is the power that makes all women, in effect, finished. You've probably heard the phrase, "women are complicated," and maybe you felt it in your own relationships. Maybe you've chased, struggled, and wondered why some women seem to slip away, no matter how much effort you put in. But here's the hard truth most men don't realize. There's one principle that changes everything. Once you understand it, the way women respond to you shifts completely. And yes, once men know this, all women are finished. Not in a cruel way, but in the sense that attraction becomes inevitable when you master this secret. Let me be clear. This isn't about manipulation, games, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding human behavior, understanding attraction, and positioning yourself in a way that naturally draws women in. Most men make the fatal mistake of trying to control women, trying to earn their attention, trying to prove their value, and the more they try, the less attractive they appear. It's a paradox, but one that can be solved.